What is up, everybody? Joshua Smith here, and we are here with another Ask Jim and Jay episode hosted by me personally, Joshua Smith. So we release this information. This show exists, and we've created this show to go out there and drop the right information, a lot of great knowledge on you guys so you can go out there and level up inside your health, fitness, nutrition, and overall optimize your health and your body and take it to the next level. So real quick before we jump into today's show and today's content, I just want to give a quick plug to Jim and Jay's newest book, which is the Metabolic Blowtorch Diet. So this is an advanced strategies intermittent fasting program that allows you to go out there, maintain muscle, even gain muscle mass while shedding off and stripping off that body fat. So this diet is absolutely insane. It's what Jim and Jay and even myself now personally am on. This book is free, right? So Jim and Jay are given a free copy. You just got to pay for the small shipping and handling fee. But if you go to metabolicblowtorchdiet.com, so www.metabolicblowtorchdiet.com, you can go and get your free copy today. So make sure that you go check that out. All right, you guys, let's jump on into the show.
Hey, Jim, what's going on, dude? How are you doing today, brother?
Good, man. What's up?
So, guys, welcome to the Ask Jay and Jim show, normally hosted by Joshua Smith. But he is not going to be here today because his throat is bad. We are live on YouTube, so this is cool. So it's just going to be Jay. It's just going to be me and Jim, and we're going to go through the Golden Rules of TOT. And we have, I think, 10 through 15 or 10 through 14, depending on how many we get through today. And again, as always, if you guys are watching live, please, go into the live chat. We're on YouTube now, and you can ask questions. Let me go ahead and share this link real quick on Twitter and on Facebook. Let's see here. So, Jim, what's going on, dude?
Nothing. It's been a busy day.
Yes, it is. The Trump economy is in full effect, I think.
Whatever's going on. Have you heard of the girther thing?
No, what is that?
So it was on the Stern show today. So there's people who think that Trump isn't 6'3", that somebody may have inflated his height a little bit, because if he's 6'2" at his weight, then he's considered obese.
Yeah, well, he's definitely not 6'3". I've stood next to him in various places in the world. I can't remember in the times I was in a seminar when he was in Vegas, and then something in LA. He was close to me back when I was in my 20s. I can't remember what it was about, but he's definitely not 6'3". That's a joke.
Yeah, so someone may have inflated his height a little bit, but just listening to that a little bit. It's funny.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay, I just tweeted it out, so we're good now. All right, cool, man. So let me go ahead and set this thing up and get the YouTube thing on the side in case I have questions on the chat. So if people watch, we can I can follow up with them on the side here. So let's pull up the questions. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see. So last week we left off on after rule number 9. So rule number 10. This is, again, all of these will be in the TOT Bible, guys, which is going to be released next week. Hopefully, it might actually be delayed a couple of days. I'm waiting to find out. It's a massive endeavor for the publishing company to get this book right. It's over, as Jim knows, it's almost 600 pages. There's a lot of citation. It's a very, very, laborious endeavor to get this book published and to get it right and to get all the quotes and citations organized and corrected and all that stuff. So anyway, if it doesn't launch on Monday, we apologize. It might be Tuesday or Wednesday. It might even be a little bit later. It just depends. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Right now, I'm hoping that it still launches on Monday. But so number 10 of Golden Rules of TRT. So that is, your physician should know how to quickly alleviate common testosterone optimization therapy side effects. These effects include high or low estrogen readings, which present as itchy nipples potentially, which is gynecomastia, also known as bitch titch in locker room culture. Water retention, which can happen around the waist, the midsection, even in the face. A lack of erectile strength. So when a guy has too high of an estrogen or E2 level, you can go from hard to soft, lose erection power. flaccid, that kind of happens. And then also mood imbalances. And that's probably usually one of the number one symptoms of guys that have unbalanced estrogen. They just kind of go from like, perfect to like irritable and just kind of not shaky, but just kind of like you just feel off. So let me just read this and then Jim, you can comment. So the potential side effects of testosterone optimization therapy are minimal in scope, simple to detect, and easy to safely correct when managed by a qualified TOT physician. Frontline treatment options should first involve changing the dose of testosterone, which is usually lowering it, and the frequency of said doses before introducing medications that are specifically used for alleviating the side effects that I just mentioned. This rule is especially important when it comes to introducing AI, which is aromatase inhibitor medications, into one's testosterone optimization therapy regime, which, as Jim and I know, and he can talk about it in a second, can cause terrible bone mineral density issues as well as HDL issues, which is high density lipoprotein, which is your good cholesterol. What do you say about that, Jim?
Yeah, I think that's in an ideal world, that rule is great. As with any clinician, I would hope that they would take the time and troubleshoot and think through the process rather than just throwing more medication at you. And a lot of the times that we see in, therapy replacement, hormone replacement therapy management.
You mean optimization therapy?
Optimization. Sometimes it's not the physician that's doing these, this kind of troubleshooting and thought process. It's somebody in the office, a PA or a nurse practitioner that maybe is just looking to solve this problem as fast as possible. Oh, you're having estrogen, I'm going to throw more AI at you. Right. And we hope that the thought process is, is it actually the correct dose of testosterone? Should it be lowered? How can I minimize the estrogen without, adding medication? And a lot of times, as we spoke of many times here and other outlets, it's frequency of injection, total amount of testosterone given per week, and all those factors. And so this is just another rule for you to think through and have a discussion with your clinician. If you do have these side effects, what are the what's the first line of defense? What are the thought processes, and how efficiently or how many patients has this practitioner solved and managed patients like these? So,
yeah, well said. Again, obviously this new book, when it comes out, it's very cutting edge. It's very leading edge, bleeding edge, whatever you want to say. It's state of the science. So a lot of the things that we're advocating, come from some of the leading minds in optimization therapy right now. I like to just call it optimization. I think that's some of the best doctors I know now. That's kind of how they're talking about it. But that's the way we should look at it. This is about optimization. This is not about replacement. We're not replacing stuff that's cessating and going lesser and lesser as you get aging. This is about, like, again, how do I live a badass, maximum energy, maximum performance lifestyle and still maintain my health and extend my life from a longevity standpoint. So that's what we're talking about. But yeah, so all of those things, side effects in testosterone optimization therapy are always minimal when this is done right. As Jim knows, and we've helped out, hundreds of guys live and in person, thousands of guys via email and through messaging. When it's done wrong initially, things do go wrong. And unfortunately, there's a huge stigmata in the marketplace. There's a lot of demonization by the mainstream media about this stuff, how it's, negative or how it causes side effects. And, everybody's heard of all the side effects all these years about how bad they are. They're not, guys. If this is done right with a good physician, such as the physicians that are part of the, the science team of the TOT Bible, this is amazing. This is life-changing, life-enhancing. There's nothing negative. Again, we've just talked about them. The side effects are so minimal in scope and they're so easily corrected. It's laughable to both of us when we hear guys say that, they don't want to do this because it takes, you have to do it for life or the potential side effects or, and again, and it's not for now, it's for later. It's one of the other rules, but, this book puts to bed the idea that testosterone is dangerous for otherwise healthy men. It's not. In fact, the opposite is the truth. Low testosterone is far more dangerous than having optimized levels of testosterone. And that's not even debatable again at this point. And if you believe otherwise, you're just not informed and you need to read this book. So the next bullet point is, unless you wanted to say anything else, do you want to say anything else?
No, well said.
Cool. So number 11, Golden Rules of TOT. And again, guys, if you're watching this, and we do have quite a few people watching, thank you for watching first. Please share this show. Myself, Jim, and Josh, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time are going to be, very committed and intentional about having this podcast this year. It's always going to be on YouTube. It's either going to be on my channel or Josh's channel. And we're going to have the best minds in the field. I've got a ton of people that have already committed to coming on the show. So believe me, this is going to be game-changing stuff as we go on through the year. So number 11, Jim, therapeutic dosages of testosterone can completely change your physique by decreasing body fat, increasing muscle mass, but only when living a dialed-in lifestyle. This lifestyle must consist of a clean, insulin-controlled diet, and Jim can talk about that in a second, in combination with productive resistance and cardiovascular training. If you think you can hack your life with testosterone optimization therapy while eating Cheetos and laying down on the couch all day, you are dead wrong, okay? Testosterone optimization therapy is not a magic bullet. Also, if you think you can get away with skipping cardio and doing nothing else but training with weights, think again. You'll end up getting average to below average results at best. You must do cardio on a regular basis to keep your blood supply oxygenated and decreasing the thickening of your blood, which is, again, via increased red blood cell counts. Again, all of this is very elucidated and explained in the book, which is often caused when using injectable testosterone. What do you say to that, Jim?
Yeah, I think some of the over the years we've come up with these people that have had these ideals that they're going to start injecting testosterone and all this magic stuff's going to happen. Well, magic stuff does happen in terms of your symptomology will be corrected. So if you're suffering symptoms of low testosterone, such as mood and libido, more times than not, beginning to take testosterone and get your test in the normal range, physiological range, will get rid of those symptoms and help. And in a lot of sense, in a lot of the word, will change your life. But it doesn't transform your physique magically from there. And so, it's just like anything. I mean, if you train super hard and eat like crap, you're not going to really have great results. Vice versa. If you train half-assed and you eat really well, you're not going to have the best results you can. And if your hormones are out of range and doing, training and nutrition right, you're not going to have the best results you can. So it's just one piece of the puzzle. To think that you're going to start testosterone and all these magic things are going to happen in terms of body transformation without changing anything else, or already be performing exercise or resistance training and cardio and watching your diet, it's just not going to happen. It will, in a sense, change your life in lessening or riddance of the symptomology of low testosterone. But it's just like anything, man. You can't hack your way to this. It's not going to, all these hacking things, biohacker this, biohacker that. Yeah, it's great. You can consider eating a specific diet, like a ketogenic diet, biohacking. But when it comes down to it, man, you have to eat what foods you probably already know deep down that you need to be eating rather than processed crap. And you have to do exercise that is uncomfortable, being resistance and cardiovascular exercise. And that's it. It's not a magic potion where you wave a wand and no effort's going to be applied and all these great things are going to happen. Hopefully you experience a lessening of symptoms right away, and then the body transformation or the optimization of your life, that's where the work starts.
Yeah, man. Well said. I'll just add a couple of things to that. I'm glad you said that, man. I just came from a lunch with a bunch of young guys that are working on a lending team that wants to work with us. They're like desperate for our business. I know the owner very well, very good dude. And we're probably going to start a relationship with them because they got a lot of young guys on their team. I got a lot of young guys on my team now. We have a lot of millennials, and, millennials are the first generation that really truly grew up in the internet. And so a lot of these guys, when they go online and they read stuff and they, try to understand what's going on, you're right, man. There's so many people out there, especially internet marketers, that like cater to this idea that they can hack their way there's shortcuts, there's ways to beat the system, there's, stuff you can take, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I always say this, and Jim knows I've learned this from like all the, esoteric teachers and philosophers and masters that I've read from in my life. You cannot master anything until you put 20 years of time into it. Okay. Jim and I have been literally training for 20 plus years of our life. We've been selling, we've been communicating with people, building relationships for 20 years of our life. Okay. We are where we're at because we have put the time with the effort, with the intentionality and the consistency to be who we are. You're not going to hack your body, okay, in 3 or 4 years or even, 6 or 8 months because you're on testosterone. And again, I don't have to reiterate the point. Testosterone is not a panacea. It is an adjunct. This is just a slight incremental, bump, gain thing that if you do all the other things right, again, we're talking dialed in, you eat right, you train right, you get enough rest, you don't, violate your body with, terrible foods and recreational drugs and anything else, alcohol, all that stuff, sugar, then yes, testosterone can really take and make a huge difference in your life. But again, this is not a magic bullet. You cannot just start taking testosterone and be a fat dude and think anything is going to change. If anything, and we probably said that last week, if you're a fat dude, actually it's the next bullet point, so it's a perfect segue. But if you're a fat person and you're over 30% body fat, you're clinically indicated as obese, a metabolic emergency, as Dr. Rob Komenarek would call you, and you start taking testosterone, you're going to have more side effects than you would previously unless you commit to losing the body fat. Okay, and that's perfect segue into the next bullet point. Did you want to add anything before I go there?
Nope.
Okay, so perfect. So number 12, Golden Rules of TOT. And by the way, if you're watching, we do have quite a people watching. If you want to ask questions, you can just type them in the chat, please. We will save the last 10 to 15 minutes or however how long we need to answer your questions at the end. So if your body fat is over 30%, okay, you are clinically obese as measured in the medical community, and you start testosterone optimization therapy without a firm commitment to getting rid of it, you're going to fail miserably. Okay. There are too many biological systems that are not functioning properly when you are obese. As a result, using testosterone in isolation can create additional problems. As discussed in the book, the TOT Bible, again, launching next week, obesity and high aromatase levels go hand in hand with low testosterone levels. Okay. I already mentioned him. I'll say him again in this. Dr. Rob Komenarek says that when you are a metabolic emergency due to things like insulin resistance and metabolic disorder, which again is what happens when you're obese, nothing is going to work as expected until all your systems are operating normally. So therefore, you must choose to get rid of your body fat or accept the inevitability of failure on testosterone optimization therapy as a result. And before, Jim, you have the words, I just want to say, I don't want guys to like read this book or watch the show and think that if they're fat, obese, because obviously the majority of men in this country are obese, that you can't use testosterone to be successful. You absolutely can. But what we're trying to say with this point and this golden rule is that you got to commit to losing the body fat when you do testosterone. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is that when you have an excess amount of body fat, the estrogen management becomes very difficult. And, it's throwing more variables into the mix, and it's harder to control. And, if you can reduce your body fat, you're going to have more successful therapy and, overall health. I mean, we can go into that. But as far as TOT is concerned, it really complicates the estrogen management. And as we've learned in this book, and you'll learn as soon as you read it, that AIs aren't a medication that you should take lightly. And, we're very serious about that. You should be too after the data. And, as you start your therapy and you're obese or semi-obese, your major function or major goal that you're progressing towards is a reduction of body fat. And as you do that, your therapy will be better, your life will be better, all kinds of good things happen. So, yeah,
I mean, it's, unfortunately in today's society, and by the way, I just got an amazing question from one of our, followers about Dr. Nico Sakos, the podcast I just did with him on prostate, which was, by the way, spectacular. And we'll answer it at the end. If you're watching this right now, Vinny, what's up, man? Thanks for sending me the question. I promise that Jim and I will answer that because it's a great question. Thank you for answering. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to beat the horse here. Jim just said everything everything that needed to be said. If you're fat, okay, even if you're not on testosterone, if you're trying to live a better life, you want to be there for your kids, you want to be able to, enjoy life with your grandkids, you need to commit to losing body fat. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know how else I can say this, but when you're fat, nothing works.
And the older you get, the harder it is, man. So, I mean, you should be hopefully, if you're in your mid 30s and you're hearing this and you're obese and you're starting therapy, man, get rid of it, dude. Right. Get rid of it. You can argue, oh, my blood work looks fine all day long. You can tell yourself if you want to, but excess body fat is not healthy, period.
No, it's not. And again, you guys, we're not here to judge you guys. That's not how we roll. If you've had, situations in your life, bad things have happened, stress, whatever, and, you let yourself go. It's okay. There's always hope, and testosterone definitely is a lipolytic medication, which means it helps to increase fat burning. It does a lot of amazing things. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have the show if testosterone didn't do what we said it did. But at the end of the day, you have to commit to changing your lifestyle. Okay. And testosterone can moderately help you, in the things that we're talking about. But again, if you don't commit to changing your lifestyle, it's not going to help you. And obviously your health is going to get worse. And, I'll just go back to what Dr. Rob said. Dr. Rob said, again, why does he use the word when you're obese? And again, he's in the Midwest, right? Where literally he says 8 out of every 10 men that come to him are obese, which is a sad statement of where we're at in America today. But bottom line, he said, that's if they come to me obese, I lecture them, we have a very close one-on-one intimate conversation. And I say, hey, you're 1 foot in the grave. When he said that to me, I laughed because as you know, Jim, I said that a million times on our podcast, but he's like, you've got to make very serious changes about your health if you want to live a longer life on this planet. And so that's where we're at. This isn't a judgment. This isn't saying we're not degrading you or anything. We're just saying, look, if you want to do TOT, and you're obese, you got your work cut out for you. Okay, cool. So number 13, and we do have some questions, but I'll get to them in the second, guys. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. So number 13, almost every single, we could go really deep on this one, Jim. Almost every single testosterone boosting supplement sold today is a complete scam. Let me say that again. Almost every single testosterone booster supplement sold in any nutritional supplement company around the world is a total scam. The cold, hard truth that there is little to no scientific evidence which supports the claims made by supplement companies about their testosterone boosters actually raising testosterone levels. The only proven way to not only raise, but to optimize, which is what we're talking about here, testosterone levels is through pharmaceutical means, which is, again, TOT, testosterone optimization therapy. This is because powerful factors in our modern day environment are constantly placing our endocrine systems under siege. Okay. The environmental assault overshadows most of our ability to produce testosterone and our efforts to fix these low testosterone levels naturally. It is the opinion of the most advanced and progressive physicians on planet Earth, again, part of the science team of the TOT Bible, that only type A personality types can fix their issues naturally due to their commitment and their militant attention to detail. Now, Jim's going to have the first word here, but I just want to say this. This is in the book, okay? Dr. Rob says that if you're over 50, the chances of fixing suboptimal levels of testosterone are less than 10% if you're over 50. And if you're between the ages of 30 and 50, it's 20%. Okay, so let's do the math on this. Okay, less than 30% of all dudes, regardless of age levels, from 30 on up, can actually fix suboptimal levels of testosterone naturally through natural means. Okay. So when you start doing the math, you start understanding that optimization is the route to go and the key to lifelong health and happiness, longevity, all that stuff. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you just a little bit on that. So you can raise your testosterone level, let's just say, with lifestyle choices. So let's just say you're a dude and you're massive cortisol, you're under massive stress, you're not sleeping at night. Yes, there's lifestyle changes that will improve your testosterone. So what we're talking about is you've already done the lifestyle changes and you have a linear reading of a clinically low testosterone. Will one of the medications or over the OTC supplements correct that? No, they won't. Will they technically raise your testosterone? Sure. I believe some of the testing that, Tribulus was tested in a double-blind study, and it raised your testosterone, whatever it was, 28%. But it wasn't 28% over time forever. It was 28% for an hour or two, or whatever it was. The OTC supplements typically will give you a raise in testosterone that is very temporary. It's not a linear raise that's delineated over the span of a day or what your natural production or an injection of testosterone would be, or an application of an exogenous testosterone. What I think that the way that they're marketing that is considered, I guess technically it's correct based on their data. But if you think you're a guy that's already adjusted your lifestyle, you're trying to maximize that, and you're clinically out of the range of testosterone or of normal testosterone, and you think taking over-the-counter supplements going to boost you up, 200 points so that you have cessation of symptoms, you're wrong.
Right. You want to say anything else?
I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to say that. I mean, look, man, I just, Jim knows this. I mean, there's like a huge Twitter feed or Twitter thread going on because I posted a couple of days ago I put a picture of the supplement cabinet, right? The locked supplement cabinet in most supplement stores near you, and, in the United States at least. And guys, it's insane. I mean, there's so many brands of test boosters. It's absolutely, it blows my mind. And it's like guys will literally go to these things and they will buy these products and they will read the claims of the manufacturers and God knows whoever other idiots that they get to say bullshit statements and spend the money on them and have absolutely no scientific verifiability that it does anything. But they'll do that because it's not quote unquote demonized by the media or by their family or by their wife or by their friends or whoever. The mainstream news that what they're doing by using real testosterone is right. I mean, it's crazy to watch.
Well, I think, Jay, that a lot of the customers that go in to buy test boosters are younger guys that are trying to put on muscle mass, and they're thinking
it's older guys, dude. I'm telling you, there's tons of
in my store. It was mostly guys trying to gain weight. There was guys that had, older guys that were looking for libido lift and all that. But let's just take that scenario. So if you're a 20, 30-year-old guy and you have normalized testosterone levels and you're taking creatine and you're looking for an ergonomic aid to try to boost your muscle gain in the gym, when you have a 6 or 7 or 800 level testosterone and you think taking some Tribulus or some other combination of stuff is going to push you over to the 1300 or whatever it would take to notice difference mark, I mean, you're grossly mistaken.
Yeah.
There are pro hormones that used to be on the market that were I thought very effective. But again, you're taking an oral steroid. You might as well be taking D-bol. I mean, at least we have more research on what D-bol does versus like an androstenedione or 4-diol or something that came out and nobody knew anything about it. Well, there was data on it, but literally we didn't have 30, 40 years of data on it. And then, there's analogs that come out on the market still that get banned very rapidly. But is that healthier by any means for you than taking an oral steroid? I would argue that point. But to naturally boost your testosterone level, especially if you're already within range, I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, you're right.
Not a fan.
I mean, it's just, but again, to me, it bears us talking about it and debating it because, I mean, you're right, but there's so many people that are buying these things, dude.
Yeah.
And then
I'm sure.
as you saw the other day, you tagged me a couple of weeks ago. I won't mention the person's name, even though I should. With the ad, about taking this. I mean, it's sad how many people, and you're right, it's a lot of young, impressionable guys, especially millennials, they fall hyped to this YouTube circus barker nonsense, the ads that they run about taking
the gram. It's on the gram.
I mean, again, what's the old guy? What's the old guy who's all over YouTube? It's the most popular YouTube video. It's got like 60 million videos where he rips his shirt off and he's like, this is my test booster Vitamix or Vitalix or whatever the hell it is. And it's like, that guy's on test. I mean, it's sad at the end of the day. Final words, stop for the love of God, stop buying testosterone booster supplements. Let me just say this.
Well, Jay, I mean, EMF is responsible for some gun work here,
So Mike Mailer, who's a friend of mine on Twitter, Mike's a great dude. He's in Vegas. He does have a supplement, and we give him credit in the book. He does have scientific studies that back there's some efficacy to his supplement. Now, again, as you said, this is not going to take somebody into an optimized range that pharmaceutical quality testosterone or testosterone optimization therapy would do, but it can, elevate a guy who's in the 200, 300 range, maybe into the 400 range. Okay, great. He's the only guy. And again, that level is so transient and so minimal, it's not going to do anything, as you already very correctly said. So, I mean, again, no offense to Mike, at least he's putting out a quality product. But, I mean, if guys are looking for optimization level results, you're not going to get it from a goddamn testosterone booster.
And if we're wrong, hey, man, send me the blood work. I'd love to see it.
We're not wrong, dude. There's nothing.
Well, let me see the blood work.
Just
show me the bodies.
Just because I want to say this, and this is not judgment or labeling, but when I went to Metal, and I won't name names, but I'm talking like A-listers. I mean, I'm telling you, there are people out there of very, huge brands, huge names who swear by Tongkat Ali. And it's like, I mean, I just remember getting in this debate with people. I won't mention names, but I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really? Like, you really think that stuff is doing all these things that you purport it to do? I mean, it's just, again, that whole world just boggles my mind that people believe.
Well, the placebo effect is very strong. I mean, that's been proven over and over again in multiple ways that the placebo effect is very, very effective. But again, if you're a guy that has clinically low testosterone and you take whatever over the counter, and now that's the only thing that you've adjusted, you haven't changed your lifestyle, that's the only variable you've changed, and now you have testosterone that's in the clinical level and you have cessation of symptoms, please let us know.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. You'd be the first.
Yeah, no shit. Okay.
So I'm not talking about, I feel better.
I mean,
I want blood work.
I mean, honestly, again, and let me just say this because I didn't say it, but Daniel Kelly wrote a scathing, expose on testosterone boosting supplements. I think it's chapter 5 in the book. Again, guys, this book is 600 pages. Jim and I left no stone unturned. Every single thing in the optimization space is covered. There's even a chapter for women. I mean, women are going to be blown away when they read this chapter. It's next level stuff from Dr. Jim Meehan and my lovely wife, Monica, going to their book. But I mean, I'm telling you, Jim doesn't even get excited about anything. And he's actually excited about this book because he's like, shit, I don't know how he did it. I mean, honestly, it's just that good. It comes out next week. But when you read the chapter on test boosters, you're just going to be like, fuck, I can't believe, because we've all done it. I mean, I know I did it in my early 20s, probably. I bought something, horny goat weed or some shit. I don't even remember. But you're just going to be like, I cannot believe I put money into that. I mean, you really won't. I mean, and again, science.
When we had the, we used to sell the standardized tribulus with the standardized saponins or whatever were in it, the Bulgarian one, hey man, I tested it out and, I gave it a run and I didn't notice a damn thing. But of course, that's before, I tested at 1100 at 27 years old. So I'm not going to notice anything from a 100 boost or whatever it gave me, so it's all in context, man. I think, there's a lot of supplement companies out there that just, flat out lie to you. And I think that's a misconception that all these test boosters have, and the way that they advertise it is ridiculous. So just beware, man.
Yeah, well said. Okay, so number 14, Golden Rules of TOT. We got 2 more, and then we're going to take your guys' questions. Number 14, there's nothing, I love this one, by the way. There's nothing morally wrong, unethical, or illegal about optimizing your body's testosterone levels. It's the exact same thing as having Lasix or an artificial hip replacement surgery. Using testosterone optimization therapy, again, TOT, productively is a lifelong strategy. And so you need to be, and you don't need anything, but you should choose to be financially stable to start therapy. Okay, because remember, you got to do this forever. You replace sorry, I just did it too. You're optimizing your body's natural production, which is declining. You're also having to be able to pay for your treatment and any additional medications when necessary. And obviously, as Jim and I have talked many, many times, as you get older, different things might happen. They might not, but they might. And so you have to be ready. You have to have a good physician that can change your medications when necessary. Obviously, you have to be able to afford them. And these have to be factored into your daily expenses. I mean, again, it's not expensive. That's another point later, which we'll get into probably next week, talking about that. But again, as Jim said today on a Twitter thread, he said, look, what's more important than your health? Is any expense more justifiable than your health? I mean, I don't think it is. Go ahead, Jim.
I lost my train of thought when you said the Twitter thing.
Oh, no, I said about the expense, what's more important than your health?
What was, oh man, I totally lost it, Jay.
It's all right, dude. Nothing morally wrong or unethical about using
testosterone. Yeah. You threw me off of that. So, I don't get that train of thought. We've tried to defend the position before, playing devil's advocate. I just don't get it. If you truly feel that way, man, I'm sorry the way you're living. I don't know how to help you other than, get a fucking life. It's ridiculous. I think now that, the testosterone replacement therapy and TOT has been more mainstream now than before, more ever before in the past. If you're thinking that taking a therapeutic dose of testosterone is cheating, I mean, it's like talking to Tom Cruise, about psychology. I don't know what to tell you, man. There are guys out there who, look down on. I ran across this before where there's some guys who train, they've been training forever. To me, they look like they're suboptimal testosterone, they're not very developed. And they make fun of guys who take testosterone, coming in, in the gym and doing that. Yeah. It's like, well, dude, do you have any, so what, man? So the guy's in there, he's, 12 to 15% body fat or whatever. He's in there working out, working his ass off. And yeah, he's taking, optimized his testosterone. Does that make him, does that make it any worse than you? I don't know. It was just this whole weird thing that trying to understand their viewpoint. I just can't, man. To have therapeutic testosterone in normal physiological range is not cheating. It's ridiculous to think so. I mean,
Well, I mean, again, the media, Jim, the media has demonized it. Again, the perfect example is LASIK, hip surgery, knee replacement, ankle replacement, shoulder now with PRP. I mean, it's all the same. People have got to stop looking at testosterone as a drug.
Well, look, I mean, we the normal general population, right, associates testosterone with steroids and steroids with performance enhancing drugs. And, I mean, if, like I said, if that's your world, I'm sorry for you, man. Do some research, do some reading, open your mind a little bit. I don't even know where to start.
Well, let me ask you this, because you brought up a good point. We might as well stay here. We have one more point to analyze. Maybe we'll do another one. The next one's really good, though. It's our optimal protocol. If we put our tinfoil hats on, I mean, can't we make a very, very spirited argument that the reason they've demonized testosterone for so long is because the pharmaceutical companies control the lobbies of the people that call the shots, the mainstream news, the fake news, the politicians, whatever. It's all the same shit to me, Hollywood. They don't want people like me and you walking around, bro. They don't want.
Well, if the testosterone molecule was patented or patentable, right, and the injectable was a delivery system that was special, then you're damn right it would be all over the place. You'd see an advertisement on TV every 5 minutes. As it is, there's anti-aging and wellness clinics that advertise because obviously it's profit. That's kind of at least it used to be very profitable in the beginning, but it's not. We're educated, or the drugs that we all know about and we hear about and everybody knows about are the ones that are patentable and have a massive amount of lobbyists and money behind them.
Right.
Is statin a everyday word that almost everybody knows what a statin is? Is a statin now part of standard practice if your cholesterol is 201 or 200.5?
It's amazing.
Does it lower the quality of your life and do anything? Not in my opinion. Yeah, it lowers your quality of life, and
Definitely
in my opinion, doesn't do a goddamn thing. Right. And so, I mean, that's if you look at it that way, but if you're relying on the media to educate you and form your thought processes, especially if you're 30 or older, I mean, come on, man. I like I said, I don't have anything for you. If you think taking, medication to optimize your hormones is cheating, I don't have anything for you, man.
It's just sad. I mean, there's, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory or even go down those paths anymore when you say it, because you're right. I mean, you made my point. The pharmaceutical companies control so much, and there's no profit margin or method, from a massive stratospheric way that they can profit off of testosterone.
Well, the healthcare system and everything in general, everything in our environment is not set up for our health.
Right.
I'm sorry to inform you, but it's not. When you go into the grocery store, the healthiest best shit for you is not the most advertised. It's not optimally placed. It's not sexy. It's actually, it's in the outer portions of the store. It's insane. I mean, it's really set up that way. The healthcare system isn't there to make you healthy. It's to fix you when you're broken, and not correct your health, but to put a Band-Aid on it, attack the symptoms, and move on. And so, this goes back to everything that we preach and say all the time, is that you have to be proactive about your healthcare. And in doing that, you have to educate yourself. And by educating yourself, you're going to realize and be able to defend the position that taking testosterone as a replacement therapy is not cheating in any type, way, shape, or form.
I mean, that's it. Just moving to the next one. It's absolutely true. It's just a joke. Anybody who demonizes this or stigmatizes this, you're right. You're just misinformed. You're a sheeple. You're shadow men engineered, whatever you want to refer to them. You don't have any understanding of what's really going on. There's, again, this point, there's nothing illegal. There's nothing immoral. There's nothing unethical about doing this. If you have a clinical need, you can do this.
And can we question what clinical need is? Sure. Yeah, there's physicians out there that are pushing that boundary. Of course. Yeah, fine. That's a different argument. When you actually have a clinical need to get to start the application of exogenous testosterone, is not cheating.
Exactly.
It's taking care of your health. We've proven that many times before.
Yeah, no. And by the way, guys, thank you for watching. We got some good questions to answer into this. So the last one I think we'll do today, and then we'll answer you guys' questions, is the big one, perfect for the end of the show. So 15, and this is honestly from me and Jim, working with the best doctors, interviewing them, talking to thousands of patients over the last 20 years, obviously also on ourselves. I think both of us have probably been on clinical, me for clinical for a long time. Jim, clinical for what, Jim? 15 years now, probably?
No, well, I stopped being a bodybuilder at 38. So, what's that, like 6, 7, 8 years?
Yeah, close to 8 years.
8 years.
So anyway, this is our optimal protocol, guys. Number 15, when using injectable testosterone as your delivery system, and again, in the book, we talk about all the delivery systems, what may or may not work for us, may not work for you. The optimal protocols to choose from in order are as follows. Again, this is from 20 years in the trenches. This is from interviewing the best docs. This is from working with a lot of people and, experimenting anecdotally, empirically. Option 1A, we have 3, by the way. Option 1A, 10 to 30 milligrams of testosterone injected daily. Again, the dosage is dependent on the person. This provides the most stable testosterone levels, i.e. mimics your body's endogenous, which is natural production, as closely as possible. And it will also help to minimize aromatization, which is, again, when the testosterone molecularly changes into or is converted by the aromatase enzyme into estrogen. This minimizes side effects, massively minimizes them. And also it minimizes the ability of your body to have erythrocytosis, which is blood thickening. Again, very well explained in the book. There's a huge disparity of understanding between a lot of physicians in the world today about polycythemia vera and erythrocytosis. There's a huge misunderstanding. It's very clearly dispelled and elucidated in the book. That's all I'll say right now. But so this type of protocol, 10 to 30 milligrams a day, 1A, option 1A, works well for individuals with a type A personality. Jim is on this protocol. I am not. I have tried this protocol, but I do not. And I am a type A personality, but my life is too busy sometimes. And I don't do with the traveling and stuff. I don't want to inject every day. But anyway, it's awesome. Jim can talk about it in a second. Option 1B is 50 to 70 milligrams injected every other day. So essentially 3 times over a 7-day period. This is a very nice compromise between injecting yourself daily and injecting yourself twice a week. Okay. This protocol is best for individuals who cannot bring themselves to administer daily injections. That's me. Now, I could do it, but again, it's a lifestyle convenience factor. So I do every other day. Okay. I've been doing every other day for so long, I can't remember how long. And by the way, I always tell people this. It's in the book. I'm very open about this. I either use propionate or cypionate, depending on what doctor I'm working with and who's prescribing me what. All from a compound pharmacy. And then option 2. So this is essentially option 3 for us, but option 2, and this is, by the way, the most popular choice of people on testosterone, 50 to 100 milligrams of testosterone injected twice per week. Okay. So this is preferably every 3rd day. This is definitely the protocol of choice by most progressive physicians and most patients. Again, from an adherence standpoint, that's exactly right. This protocol is still more advantageous than once per week therapy. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so we've built the case pretty well, in other outlets and in the book, that more frequent injections leads to better therapy for all the reasons that Jay said. And man, I don't know what else to add on that from every aspect. If you have to, 2 times a week is a minimum. If you can do it more, great. I personally tell a difference between 2 times a week and every other day or daily. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe it fits into your lifestyle, maybe it doesn't. But for me, very frequent injections, smaller dosage gives me more stable levels, meaning stable mood, stable sex drive, and less estrogen production and less hematocrit. So, and I feel better. Just overall, general sense of well-being is higher on more frequent injections.
There's no question about that. That's also talked about in the book. We've talked about that, Jim, many times on podcasts. There is a dopaminergic signaling experience with testosterone. So more frequent dosaging definitely does tweak those, brain pathways. There's no question that every day is going to mimic the body's natural production as closely as possible, as most is naturally possible, which, as Jim said, is definitely going to reduce any type of side effects. If anything, doing it every day, there's no side effects. Again, how many guys are going to do it every day? There's a lot of factors that go into injecting every day. Some of the smartest people I know that I've mentored under, there's a physician in New York City, Dr. Lionel Bassoon. All of his patients are every day a propionate. He also gives them, if they want, HCG or other vitamin B and some other injectable nutrients and stuff like that, is all part of his compounded concoctions and stuff like that.
And the ester doesn't matter.
No. Well, I was going to go.
Just to be clear. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to go down that path, and you can have some words on it. Jim's right. At one time when I wrote the first book, and then obviously there's science behind this. I was kind of favoring propionate because propionate, milligram per milligram, if you analyze all the esters at 100 milligrams, because of the way it cleaves in the bloodstream molecularly, there's a more, and again, this is written about in the book, there's a higher net bioavailability of effect per 100 milligrams compared to all the other ones. But Jim's right. Testosterone is testosterone. When you're injecting this over a lifetime, it's such a negligible effect from one ester to the other. Ultimately, as he said, it just, what matters most is the frequency of dosage and balance between testosterone and estrogen, which is, noticed as happiness and feeling good. That's all that matters. All the other stuff is crazy. We get into debates all the time with doctors. We get into debates all the time with people about, they have this like arbitrary numbers. Oh my God, I'm at 1400. My doc says I got to lower my dose. Oh my God, blah, blah. They test two hours after injection. That's another point we can get into another podcast. But guys, all that stuff is just abject whackery. It's how you feel, the side effects, the symptoms, how you're, existing day to day is what matters. It's not some arbitrary magical number in the sky. And this goes with everything. Estrogen, E2 levels, it's just how you feel. Some guys can be 65 on an E2 level and feel amazing and have no side effects and have a very strong sex drive. And other guys at 65 or 60, have a lack of erectile strength. There's just, everybody's different. And that's why you have to work with a physician who has an experiential based practice, who's worked with patients, who manages male and female endocrine systems, and understands what they're doing and can, again, prescribe you other medications to alleviate issues when and if they come or if that happens. But, Jim's right. At the end of the day, testosterone is testosterone. There's no reason to get caught up in, cypionate being better than ananthate being better than propionate, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously for our European friends, they have sustanon over there, which is a blend of 4 esters. So it doesn't matter. It's just the regularity, the consistency, hopefully the increased frequency, which again, 3 days a week is better than 2. Every day a week is better than 3. 2 days a week is fine. Okay. You can definitely do 2 days a week and be fine. Okay. There's a lot of guys, most physicians prescribe 2 days a week. Because again, at the end of the day, a physician wants you to adhere to the protocol. So 2 days, you're going to adhere to 2 shots a week, probably a lot better than everyday shot. Do you want to add any last statement on that before you answer questions?
No, man, let's hit the questions.
Okay, cool. So guys, thank you for watching and thank you for staying till the end. If you guys want to hit us with more questions right now, we'll answer for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. So Jim, what are your thoughts on modafinil?
Awesome.
Jim is a man of many words at times.
We've talked about that and written about it prolifically. I think that it's one of the best nootropics out there. I use it often, but when I do use it, it's for 1, 2, or 3 days in a row. A maximum of a week. I don't exceed 100 milligrams a day. It will start to affect your sleep after a few days. That's my experience. But it's great. I would just use it, smallest dose as possible and infrequently as possible. And that's it. When we made EMF, that was the measure. I wanted a serving size of EMF to be what I thought was equivalent dose of modafinil, and I think we did that. Given any of the other nootropics that I've ever tried and nootropic formulas, be it the racetams or any other class of drugs or pharmaceuticals or gray market supplements, whatever, modafinil is definitely my favorite for those. And I throw it in the mix. I certainly like it a lot better than like an Adderall or one of those base products. So I like it. I just don't use it often. It keeps it more effective that way. And I tend to use it for special days or, when I'm taking a break from EMF.
Well said. I do use modafinil too. I use actually less. I'll use 50. I just break it up into quarters. They're 200 milligram tabs. You can find them. They're not controlled, are they, Jim? Are they controlled?
Yeah, it's a prescription drug.
I know it's prescription, but it's not like a Control 3, right? It's just
I don't. It's I don't think it's a huge deal, man. There's
it's not.
Bigger,
so anyway,
bigger fish out there.
Yeah, you can buy it. Just Google it, guys. There's places that offshore pharmacies sell it. There's places everywhere that sell it. It's a great medication. They do prescribe it for people that have narcolepsy, for pilots, stuff like that. There's a way. There are ways to get
shift worker syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of different ways to get it. It's a very, very powerful nootropic. We do use it. I full disclosure, I use it with EMF. I usually take 2 capsules of EMF in the morning, but if I want to have a really focused day, I have a busy day of writing, I'll probably take a quarter of an a quarter of modafinil. But it's a great stuff. And again, it's one of the agents of change. We write about it in the chapter Agents of Change and break it down to a science. It's very, very detailed and intimately explained. The dosages that Jim and I use, how we use it, when we use it, it's all in there. So again, the TOT Bible comes out next week. You can go and get on the waiting list right now, totbible.com, but it'll obviously be on Amazon. The next question that we have is, what's your opinion on sub-Q injections?
I'm not a fan, but a lot of people love them. We recently had a client that switched over, and he found that the estrogen management based, or his issues with estrogen management were more controllable. So I don't have a preference for recommendation. I mean, if you're going to do a subQ injection, and that's going to get you to a more frequent injection, I love that for sure, because typically you're using an insulin needle, and you can do an every day or every other day very easily that way, very painless. So if you're thinking about it, try it, but make sure your injection frequency is closer than the 2 a week, I would say, because take advantage of it. Take advantage of using the insulin pen, and try to maximize your therapy. But I personally don't like it. I tend to get cellulitis or knots where I'm applying the testosterone. But that's me, man. I'm also very sensitive to propionate, so I can't take that either. But try it for yourself. A lot of people are very happy with that type of therapy.
Yeah, I mean, you hit every nail on the head. Again, it's all in the book, very, very explicitly. We make our opinions on subQ injections. They without a doubt work. There's a lot of men using them. I have all the science, all the relevant studies. There's not a lot, but there's like 4. They're all in the book. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's, you may or may not vary. You try it out. If it works for you, great. It does not work well for Jim and I. We definitely, as he said, we get kind of lumpy, like a cellulitis type feeling in the lower abs when we do it there. But a lot of guys do it and they're fine. You just have to be careful. And I always say this with a caveat: if you're a fat dude and you have a lot of fat in your abdominal region and you're injecting down there, you remember testosterone is converted to aromatase if you're, an over excreter or you overproduce aromatase genetically. So you have to be careful of increasing the body's chances of, aromatizing and having estrogen related side effects. Again, it's not everybody it happens to. It's weird. We used to think that would be the case, but now obviously we're seeing that a lot of people don't have any issues with it. So again, you just have to try it out, experiment, see what happens. Let me see if we have any other questions in the YouTube group, and then I'll answer the other one if we don't. If you guys have another question, please ask me right now. Somebody said there's still a negative stigma attached to using testosterone, even though it's natural to the body. Okay, cool. So the last question came from that email, which I'll pull up. From a guy, Vinny, who wrote us and said a really good email. We really appreciate it. Let's see. Man. Okay. The book's going to get pushed back. I just got an email. That's good email. Where's the email that he just sent me? I want to respond to it, which now I can't find it. So anyway, I'll just go from memory. He said that so Nico Sakos, which I just had him on the podcast the other day, brilliant researcher, we talked about testosterone in the prostate. He also talked about using antihypertensive medication for people on testosterone. And the guy asked me, he's like, wow, probably a lot of your listeners and loyal fans watch that and are, flummoxed and a little bit blown away because he talked about using antihypertensive medication. So the question was, Jim, was he talking about people that are on clinical dosages, or was he talking about bodybuilders? And I think, and again, his English is not the greatest. It's decent, but it's not the greatest. I think that the question from the person who asked the question, Vinny, I really do believe that he was talking more about guys that are using super physiologic levels to use antihypertensive medication. But then he did mention that using and again, this is very cutting edge, right? This is like a leading, I forget what he is. He's I forget. There's only a
biopath, isn't he? Molecular.
He's a molecular endocrinologist or something. There's 8 people like him in the whole world.
Something insane. Yeah.
He's studying at levels that very few people in the modern realm understand. And so he was talking about using antihypertensives when you're on testosterone because it does alleviate the thickening of the blood and a lot of other things. And again, it's a very next level podcast. And Nico's an amazing dude, and I'm really thankful for having him on. But I would not get too concerned if you're a guy using 150 milligrams, 200 milligrams, 175 milligrams, 100 milligrams, whatever it is, of testosterone a week, and worrying about using antihypertensive medication at the same time. Again, get your blood work done, work with an awesome doctor, make sure that you are monitoring your hematocrit and your hemoglobin levels. Now, here's something, I'll just say it right now, and I don't want to confuse people. If you haven't read the TOT book, Bible, we are definitely the latest state of the science now, we understand, and Jim's had this personally, he knows, and it's good to affirm it, but most of the data is wrong. Okay, there's levels that are put out there by the Endocrine Society whenever they put them out there, which is like 2008 or 2009, about having an 18 level, hemoglobin and a 50 level hematocrit as being too high, and that you immediately have to send the patient for phlebotomy. It's not true. Okay, it's wrong. We have brilliant scientists and doctors who have hundreds of patients. There's also studies out there about people that live at high altitude who have, very normal levels of hematocrit at like 54, 55, 56, and they're fine. They're fine. And then people with 21 and 22 hemoglobin levels. So normally most docs, if you got an 18 or 50, they immediately send you for phlebotomy. Some guys are being over phlebotomized. You got to be really careful when you phlebotomize, because if you do it too often, you can really lower your ferritin levels and your iron levels, and then you can have other issues. But again, the book is very, very clear on the physicians who are very outspoken about this. Dr. Rob is very big on, elucidating and enunciating the difference between polycythemia vera and erythrocytosis, which many physicians confuse. So that's really about it. I wouldn't worry about taking antihypertensives. Do you want to say anything about that?
No, man. I haven't listened to that podcast yet, and so I'm not sure if his contention was as a preventative or as a relation to actual raise in blood pressure.
Well, I asked him that question. He actually said both.
So I mean, I would defer back to when you start initiation of therapy, you should know what your static blood pressure is or what your normalized blood pressure is.
Right.
I do that with a home unit, and I've done that for years, forever.
Yep.
And if you see changes, then you're going to have to address it. If you see a raise in your blood pressure overall, systolic and diastolic, then that's cause for, a diagnosis of what's going on and a evaluation of what's changed in your life. And if it's above, what we consider normal ranges, I would definitely address that, be it a pharmaceutical or lifestyle changes. Lifestyle changes first, preferably, and then pharmaceutical if you have to. But that's something that I would highly recommend, is keeping track of that. That's something you should check a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I check it every few weeks, if that. You should have a home unit, or you should be doing that on a regular basis.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's good enough. I mean, again, this is all in the Bible, guys. There's nothing left. We talk about sleep apnea. We talk about, using a blood pressure monitor, or monitoring your blood pressure, having an at-home cuff, knowing where to go to get your blood pressure measured. I mean, everything, again, every parameter of health is covered in the book. There's nothing that we miss. Jim's pulling down his cuff right now. Oh, wow.
Cuff.
There you go. So I mean, again, guys, only you are going to be responsible for your health. You cannot rely on your garden variety, primary care physician, practitioner, whatever, to do this kind of stuff anymore. It's on you, man. But obviously, people like us are putting the information out there, giving you guys ways and means to take care and, own your health, man. Just completely own it. So we got one last question, Jim.
Yeah.
Actually, here they come. Now the questions are coming in. Two questions. So one question is, if I'm planning on getting my wife pregnant, do I need to stop my testosterone completely and move to HCG, or do I just reduce the testosterone? You want to answer that?
Nope.
You want me to answer that?
I'm not touching that with a. Hey, man, there's so many variables, dude. I don't want to go on record as saying one thing or another.
I mean, we can give you what the best doctors will do. So you don't necessarily have to go off of testosterone, but you should concomitantly use HCG or HMG or even clomiphene with the testosterone. Hopefully, if your goal is to get them pregnant, again, this is all covered in the book. This is also in the free gifts that we're giving out for people that leave us a review on the questions to ask your doctor about maintaining fertility. And Jim says this a lot, but if you're starting testosterone and your goal is to have children at some point, the best fail-safe always is to have a measured sperm count before initiating therapy and freezing your sperm. That's always the best course of action, period. Now, that doesn't mean that going on testosterone and then wanting to have children 10 to 15 to 20 years later, if you start, early at 30 or something, you can't have kids. It's not true at all. Jim and I have talked about this. We've seen countless guys go back on, a restoration protocol of of HCG and HMG, or even Clomid by itself, and get their wives pregnant. So there's not a lot to worry about. But again, a best practice from some of the top doctors that we talk to and work with would be concomitantly using HCG and HMG with testosterone to maintain fertility. That's your best strategy. Here's the other question is, well, I know it's actually a good one. And thanks for the question, System Lord 30. Well, I noticed significant muscle tone going from the 550 to 800 range, low SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin guys here. I'm one of those guys. I'm still trying to dial in using 17.5 milligrams every other day. I need to lose 50 to 70 pounds. Okay. You just killed everything at the end, brother, because you basically told us that you were obese. Remember, if you're metabolic emergency,
10 to 17 may not put him at the obese range.
No, he said 50 to 70 pounds.
Okay.
So I'm assuming okay. You're obese, bro. If you're 400 pounds and you're muscular, I'm wrong, but I'm assuming that you are. So again, the answer is again, when you're metabolically emergency, when you have a lot of issues, nothing is going to work. So no advice that we give you is going to be like yay or nay, because it's haphazard. So first goal is to lose body fat.
Well, is he going to increase muscle mass if he slightly increased the test dosage?
He says if he goes from the 550 total testosterone to 800, will.
Man, that's a good question. And here's the answer. I highly doubt, unless you were having symptomology, meaning low T symptoms at 550, that you would notice anything going from 550 to 8.
Right.
Certainly not any muscle gain or overall, even if we dialed it down, I would be very, very surprised if it was, even a quarter pound of muscle over a year. You're not going to be able to tell the difference, especially if it's a 550 static. Like you have a very stable level of 550. That's not a peak, that we're seeing once a week or once every 10 days. But if it's a static level of 550 and you're symptom free, I highly, highly doubt that you're going to notice a difference between that and 850.
Okay, so the guy's definitely obese. He just said he's skinny fat. He's 6 feet, 233 pounds. Yeah.
And 50 pounds to lose. Well,
yeah, he says he should be 160. Target is 160. Bro, I don't know about you, but 6 foot and 160, that's like a waif. I don't know what's going on, but you need to focus on building up your body, brother. Seriously. There's no reason a 6 foot person who's got decent muscularity and not like the worst genetics I've ever seen. There's no way you're under 185 pounds. There's no way. There's just no way.
Well, if I don't know what your goals are, but yeah, we'd probably like to see you put on a little bit more muscle mass and reduce body fat. Would going from 550 to 800 help that? Probably not. It's more focus on your testosterone's in the range, and now focus on diet and training.
Yeah, but again, I'm 6'1", 6'1 and a half. You're 6'2 and a half, 6'3. There's no way that a 6 foot person should be 160 pounds. That's too skinny.
Well, I don't know what his goals are, man. You know what I mean?
No, I know that, but I'm just saying that, like, based on a body frame of 6 feet,
that's very.
If you're in shape and you have some muscularity, you're at least 180. There's just no way.
Probably, yeah, unless you're a ultra long distance runner or something that with no body fat.
Well, if he's an ultra long distance runner, he needs to change the game anyway. All right, cool, guys.
Well, you get the point. Thank you for the question, man.
We appreciate your question, guys. It's at 5:08 right now. I don't see any other questions. We really appreciate you guys watching. We will be back on next week with Josh, and we will get through probably the rest of the TOT Golden Rules. I just got an email from the publisher. The book is so massive and there's so many changes. It looks like I'm probably not going to end up launching until the middle of next week. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday. It's not going to be Monday. So anyway, letting people know, you guys are the first to find out. Again, we appreciate you watching. Please, if you do need to lose body fat, we offer our book on optimizing intermittent fasting and metabolic blowtorch diet absolutely free in North America. All you have to do is pay for shipping at metabolicblowtorchdiet.com. We also have an amazing system of weight training that's created by Jim, 30 years in the trenches. It's called Forged. You can find that at advancedforgedtraining.com. There's no better weight training system, in my opinion, in the world. Some of the top guys are doing that. It's just, if you're an older guy and you're aging, even a woman and you're aging, this is the system to adopt. And then, of course, we also have our EMF, which is our nootropic that we talked about on the show today. Hands down, the best over-the-counter nootropic that I know of on the planet. It's not going to make you jittery. It's not going to make you like, hyper crazy, like an ephedrine type thing. It's very, very smooth, hyper focus, hyper vigilance, feel amazing. Women that use it say that it improves their vision. It's just an amazing, amazing medication. It's not a medication. It's obviously an over-the-counter supplement that you can use to improve focus, increase energy, improve your training programs. And again, it's great for entrepreneurs and people that need energy. So again, we appreciate you guys watching. See us next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.